Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Monday, it's June the 3rd. This will be our chart lesson for today. And it started out looking a lot like a trading range, but as the day progressed, it looked more like a trading range, or I'm sorry, a weak channel, trend channel kind of working down. You can see the lows we bounced off of and the highs we bounced off a few times before we finally broke above it and went higher. And we've now tested the very high of the overnight and failed and working back down. But, you know, each time we've got above each of these levels, it looks like it's going to fail, and it just keeps going higher. And it's almost, actually the market's going to close any minute, so we're going to close back inside of this overnight high. But to me, I think you were better off trading this channel that's working down here and then drawing your short-term swings in between. I've got a couple of emails a day. Somebody I talked to, I told them that, you know, this is one of those days where, you know, even though I knew what was going on, I had a hard time trusting it. I really thought prices were going lower here, but I didn't see them going straight to the bottom. And but they did. And then we got a break and then a new move down. And then we started working higher, but it looked, you know, the market was really struggling to get through, back through this area right here. And then we finally got up here. It looked like it was going to reverse, and guess what? It just keeps going higher, and this channel's still in play. We did get a little break here. Wasn't much of one, but, you know, you would think that would be enough to get your two legs up and then a correction. And I don't even know how long that correction lasted. We made the high maybe at 109, and it lasted, you know, see, we broke higher at almost 2 o'clock, not quite an hour of a correction there, but it is a two-legged correction. And that's generally what, you know, that's generally how you can often tell if you're going to get a reversal or if you're, you know, prices may still go higher, is the fact that, you know, instead of making a new, well, we did make a new high here, but we didn't, we made the two legs down and then bounced right off the trend line again, and I felt like there was enough room in there to make that worth going. And if you took that, you could, you know, and you stayed with it even through this, which was hard to do, but if you followed the rules, you could have ridden this all the way to the high today. And I'm really mad at myself. It was hard to enter these trades because the reversal bars were so large. And if you used the limit order, you probably didn't get filled. So you just about had to enter at the highs, maybe a limit order, maybe a tick in or right at the high, or else you didn't get in on these trades. So it was a difficult day for me because a lot of my usual stuff didn't work. But I believe, you know, just when you think you're ready to give up on this market, you know, we rally off these lows from around 1620, almost a 20, basically a 20-point reversal since 10:30, 11 o'clock this morning. And that's pretty big, and that started out looking like it was going to be a huge sell-off that was going to continue from Friday, and it just didn't happen. This market, there's just too much buying, and now you can see the market has closed, and we closed up quite a bit today. Well, I won't say quite a bit. Friday we were at, let's just see what we did. Friday the market closed at 1629, and today it closed at 16, we'll just call it 1636. So about a 7-point increase, but from where we were at, that's a huge move. And this looks like a, you know, on a daily chart, this will look like a reversal day probably. So, you know, who knows where we're going to go from here. But it was an interesting day. There were a lot of entries. They were difficult. A lot of them were difficult entries. But if you followed the rules, and this is, you know, I even had to tell myself this today, if you'd just followed the rules, you'd have made a killing today. Instead of making a little bit of money, you'd have made a killing. And I didn't do as well today as I normally do because I missed so many trades. They were just so hard to get into. But let's back out. And again, you can see that channel working down. I found it off the lows first, and so I was prepared when we came back up here and we turned off up to the tick. I really didn't expect it to go back again, but it did. but it gave you a chance to enter on a second entry short there after a failed second entry long, and then it was off to. Did I know it was going to do this? No way. And I couldn't. I didn't like entering here, and I definitely didn't like entering here, so I didn't get either one of these trades. I marked them because after the fact, I see now, you know, they were clear setups in the channel, bounces off the channel, but I just didn't like them. I didn't have the nerve to pull the trigger, so I'll just be honest with you. But if you saw them, I put them in green for that reason because I was leery of them. But if you saw them and took them, they were great trades. And I, you know, I'm thinking, you know, prices are probably coming back down here. But then it looked like we were going to bounce right here. I did take this trade right here. I take this back. I did go ahead and enter right here. It was very reluctantly, but I forced myself to go ahead and go short here. And it went exactly where I thought it was going to go. And so this trade did work out okay. This one I was a little less, you know, I really thought we were going to bounce out of here and make another leg up, one more run up, and probably test this high. But I should have trusted that this trend line held and that it matched this one down here, and that we, you know, you just don't see many moves like that. Let's see how big a move that is. You should have, you know, at your worst, you should have entered at 34, and this thing went straight down to basically 24. That's a 10-point move straight down with basically no correction. So great move. I just wish I would have got more of it. So, but let's talk about the trades. By the time I got here, this was the first entry I saw. We spiked up. We started off in this trading range. You can see it right across there. Kind of the highs were maybe right there, and we spiked above it. Failed entry. We got back inside. A little breakout pullback short. This is just a two-legged pullback to the EMA. I really like that setup. Figuring we're coming back down to the lows, and quick, easy scalp, no runners, but it gave you a second chance to get in right here. Notice that failed second entry long, so it's a breakout pullback short as well. So there's a trap right there, and that was a nice move, and went right down to the lows, and you know, I exited down here right where you expect, and it bounced. This was the one I was a little hesitant here to enter this one. When it broke higher and turned down real fast, if it had went on out the other side, I would have already had a stop there, but because it didn't, I dropped a limit order in here, right back in here, and I didn't get filled on that, and so this trade left me. I didn't get it, and it's a second entry short. It's a great reversal bar, but I was trying to build, you know, generally if you try to enter too low in that, you know, you might get burned, so I was trying to be conservative, and guess where it goes? Right down here, and goes right where you're thinking. So, but I was scared. I was a little scared or hesitant to buy down here. Notice though that this one broke lower first, turned up and went out the high side. So I did get long with a limit order. I only scalped out of this one, so I didn't get all this run. I really didn't. I really thought we'd come back down again. And so this really kind of started me second guessing myself all day today. Both of these two trades really did. But this was a great make up for it. Once you saw that leg and then the two-legged correction and we broke above that, it's a failed second entry short. It's a second entry long. You should have been thinking, you know, that's a really bullish leg right there, and then you got to be figuring a measured move, and what do you know, we get a perfect measured move. So, and by that time I had this line, and so I'm looking for it to go up here, exited right at the high. So this was a nice move. It made up for this one a little bit, and this was kind of a news event. There was news that came out at 9 o'clock, and generally you take all that back real quick, and you can see that's exactly what happened. And I should have been thinking about that on the way down, but I wasn't. But all this was we took that news back, and then we tried to make another leg. And so by that time, you should have already had measured this leg. And so on this leg, you should have been thinking right down in here. And you can see we got a little bit lower, and they trapped some people, and then it's been going higher all day long. But we had this coming down. We had a break, and now we're coming back for the retest. And you get a failed second. This is really not a failed second entry long because you got your first entry, then you pull back your second entry, and you would have got a scalp. But when you make a lower high, it still didn't go any higher, so it's almost like a failure. It really works in the same purpose, and you can see it was an easy move down. They didn't quite get the runners on this one, so if you hung on, you could have ridden this down and got a few more points out of it. I ended up exiting at the line down here, nothing more than that. And then I had a hard time finding a place to get back in this. And really, there is a long right here, but I don't see any reason to want to take that. I just didn't like it. It's too big. You couldn't get in it with 2 points. So I really was thinking, hey, we're going to end up going lower yet still. What I was looking at and what really had me worried was you can get this line across there too, and we were having a hard time getting above that. But when we had this failed second entry short here that trapped people, that's just a two-legged pullback right to the trend line, and then it made another little trap. Then you couldn't ignore it, and it was an easy scalp that came right back and got the runners, unfortunately. But it was a nice easy scalp. And then there was another trap here, so I guess I should have drawn that one, but getting long up here near these highs, every time it's come up here it's failed and it's pulled back pretty far. So I didn't like it, but if you took it, it would have worked. And you could see we weren't quite back to the previous highs yet. And really, you might have even considered this being up here. And maybe it was up here because that's where we finally reversed. You know, usually you'll keep going until you get to the other side, and maybe that's why we continue to go higher. I'm thinking maybe that is where the channel was, but I had it drawn across here previously. But anyway, you could have entered right there. I'm going to go ahead and draw a green circle there just in case because some of you will probably ask about it, because there is a trap. I just didn't trust it, and I probably should have. And it was an easy scalp. And then, of course, we pull back, and then you got another failed second entry short, and then notice the little double bottom trap right there. And so, you know, I was hoping it would break out the top, but it didn't. So I did use a limit order here, and this one got filled. And this was the last one that got filled. I missed this trade. Of course, this was they came back and got the runners, so no runners on it. And so I missed this trade. And then this one, and because this one was so big, again, I tried the same thing, and it bounced off my limit order a few times, and then boom, it was gone, and I missed another one. And by that time I was done. I just had enough. I said, this is too stressful for me today. I'm not smooth today. I'm not reading the market. Even though I was reading it right, I just didn't feel comfortable. I don't know how to describe that, but you will have days like that, and this is probably a good learning experience because it's been a long time since I've had a day like that. Just nothing felt comfortable, and so I just decided, hey, you know, I'm quitting. And it was getting late by that time anyway. It's after 1 o'clock, but, you know, when you get a move like this, you hate to miss these moves. So, and I just hated to miss it. So, but I did, and once we got into that, I said, hey, it's not worth fooling with anymore, and I called it a day. And it was getting late as well, but you see it continued to go higher and higher and higher there. So really good trading day. And some of you, you know, hopefully did really well. And, you know, for me, I just really struggled on some of this it was just one of those days where I didn't feel comfortable, even though I saw it properly. I couldn't convince myself that what I was seeing was right because we kept switching gears so much. And you might have seen the overall, like I said, there's different reasons to take some of these. This one, you had a trading range here, and it's a failed break, a double top. So even if you didn't have this line, there's still a reason to go short there. There was still a reason to buy down here. It's the first break below this strong support here. And then definitely no reason to go long down here. And then you really never got a chance to, you don't want to be going long till you get to retest after a move like that, because you might even get another measured leg down, but we couldn't get back below this line. We broke below it temporarily, but it didn't last. So so really that was about it for a day. And then from there on, even though it wasn't a strong trend, we continued to go higher. And every time you got a chance to come down there, you could have shorted a lot of these, but I think it's really dangerous. But a lot of people were still thinking short. It was just a really volatile kind of day with a lot of whiplash, but really for the most part from 1045 onward, it was straight up. I won't say straight up, but it's a pretty good move up. So, but that's what I saw today. And again, you keep moving this line up, and we finally met the overnight high, and looks like we're, at least for now, we're, from then on, we traded lower into the close. You can see the close line is there now. We've opened back up on the next day. It's 3:30 now. So, but that's what I saw today. Lots of entries there. Still a lot of chance to make money. For me, I just feel like it was not a great day because I missed so many trades. Even though I saw them, I still missed them, and I just didn't feel comfortable today. So, like I said, it's a good learning experience because you don't hear me say that very often, but it definitely was the case today. So, if you felt it, don't be alone. You just can't get on the wrong side on a move like this because it will absolutely kill you. Or once it started going up, you couldn't be stuck short down here. You have to find these lines, and when you start to see prices bouncing multiple times at certain areas, you got to draw that line. And if you saw this channel, the whole time I suspected that prices were going to at least here, but it never really felt comfortable to me because each time the sell-offs were so quick and violent, and it would take so long to work through the upside. It felt like a weak, what it reminded me of was a weak correction that's going to end up turning back with the original trend and selling off again like that. And that's what had me kind of miffed, I think. So at least that's what had me a little nervous. So, but maybe we've seen most of the sell-off. Maybe we'll rally out of here. We'll just have to see. But it's definitely a nervous market. Be careful. Still lots of volume. You see all the bars in there, which leads to some great opportunities. But you can get burned, as you can see. It's not very often that you get 10-point moves straight down or straight up in the ES. But you see we've made a few of those today. So be careful out there. Trade smart. And if you're wrong, exit. And if you're not feeling comfortable or you're not sure what you're seeing, don't trade, and don't chase the market. And I probably could have chased these here and done okay, but I didn't want to chase the market. So generally you'll get burned on that. And just like right up here, if you were chasing the market right here, guess what? You got burned. If you were chasing the market right here, you got burned again. If you were chasing any of these coming down, guess what? You got burned. So don't chase the market. You got to hit the trade. You got to enter where you're supposed to. If you miss it, you just got to watch it go without you until you get another setup. So keep that in mind. I think that'll help a lot. But don't chase the market or don't feel like you're going to get left behind, because as soon as you do that, that's when you'll get caught getting long here or short here, and or vice, anywhere on here you can see examples of that today. So that's really about it. I'm going to wrap it up for today. Hope you had a good trading day. We got a start of a new month here. Hope you'll have hope your trading month for June will be a good one, and we'll just have to see what this thing's going to do. So I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.